Daily Bible reading, Ezekiel chapter 40, verses 24 to 47. Then he took me to the south side. There was also a gate on the south side, and he got the same measurements as before for its supports and its vestibule. Both it and its vestibule had windows like the aforementioned ones. It was 50 cubits long and 25 cubits wide. Its staircase consisted of 7 steps. Its vestibule was ahead of them, and its supports were decorated on both sides with palm trees. The inner court likewise had a gate facing south. And on the south side too he measured a distance of 100 cubits from the outer gate to the inner gate. He now took me into the inner forecourt through its south gate. When he measured this south gate, it had the same measurements as the foregoing. Its recesses, its supports, and its vestibule had the same measurements. Both it and its vestibule had windows on both sides. It was 50 cubits long and 25 cubits wide. Vestibules on both sides, 25 cubits long, 5 cubits wide. Its vestibule, however, gave on the outer court. Its supports were adorned on either side with palms, and its staircase consisted of 8 steps. Then he took me to the eastern side of the inner forecourt, and when he measured the gate there, he got the same measurements. Its recesses, supports, and vestibule had the above measurements. Both it and its vestibule had windows on both sides. It was 50 cubits long and 25 cubits wide, and its vestibule gave on the outer court. Its supports were decorated on both sides with palm trees, and its staircase consisted of 8 steps. Then he took me to the north gate, and found its measurements to be identical, with the same recesses, supports, vestibule, windows on both sides, and a length of 50 cubits and a width of 25 cubits. Its supports gave on the outer court. Its supports were decorated on both sides with palm trees, and its staircase consisted of 8 steps. A chamber opened into the gate. There the burnt offering would be washed, and inside the vestibule of the gate there were 2 tables on each side, at which the burnt offering, the sin offering, and the guilt offering were to be slaughtered, while outside, as one goes up toward the opening of the north gate, there were 2 tables on one side, and there were 2 tables on the other side of the gate's vestibule. Thus there were 4 tables on either flank of the gate, 8 tables in all, at which the sacrifices were to be slaughtered. As for the 4 tables for the burnt offering, there were of hewn stone, 1.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, and 1 cubit high. On them were laid out the instruments with which the burnt offerings and sacrifices were slaughtered. Shelves, 1 handbreadth width, were attached all around the inside, and the sacrificial flesh was laid on the tables. There were chambers for singers in the inner forecourt, one beside the north gate, facing south, and one beside the east gate, facing north. The man explained to me, "The chamber that faces south is for the priests who perform the duties of the temple, and the chamber that faces north is for the priests who perform the duties of the altar. They are the descendants of Zadok, who alone of the descendants of Levi may approach the Lord to minister to him." He then measured the forecourt, 100 cubits long and 100 cubits broad, 4 square. In front of the temple stood the altar. He took me into the portico of the temple and measured it. The jambs of the portico were 5 cubits deep on either side. The width of the gate opening was 14 cubits, and the flanking wall of the gate was 3 cubits on either side. The portico was 20 cubits wide and 11 cubits deep, and it was by steps that it was reached. There were columns by the jambs on either side.